that are going to keep air movement. And more important than anything is how you water these plants. Oh, and I will tell you, the first couple waterings are really critical because I've seen it happen where people will spend all this time getting this right, and they'll just go and start blasting away at these things. In fact, we had somebody here who loved to do that, and you end up with these little, everything pitted out. Well, that's where the seed is, right? You don't want to wash them out. So until the seed germinates and establishes itself, you got to be careful on how you water, and you want to make sure that you have watered enough to where the water is actually coming out the bottoms of these cells. That's the key. The tendency is always the same as it is with what we call end of the row syndrome. You have edge of the flat syndrome, in that for whatever reason the middles get more water than the edges, so we always over water the edges, right? And I usually do it 4 times. And there is a little trick. If the sun is shining, it's easier to do, and not is after you immediately water, when the water is still on the surface, you'll see a little shininess there. If that stays on there for 8, 9, 10 seconds, you know you've probably got good saturation. You can actually see the water in the reflected light. It's what we call a 10-second shiny, which is kind of a handy little thing, and it's good for flats and stuff. You obviously don't use it in the field. The mix is critical. I mean, obviously you've got to have the right soil mix. We do actually some foliar of our plants in the flats. We'll use compost tea or seaweed. Very helpful.
Do you add any fertility to your mix?
Do I add fertility as they're growing or at the time?
No, when you're
Oh yeah. I mean, we have actually, to be honest with you, we have found in the last few years it's far cheaper for us to buy, if it's a good mix, a pre-made mix, than it is to make our own. Now, I will say that we did really well the year before this one. It was amazing, and in fact, the first round was good, too. Really good. And we have this deal with these guys where they want to support us. If you don't have a source of that you really know is good stuff, and you haven't tested it, better to buy the ingredients, and there are some recipes in there. In which case, you will be adding some minerals, etc., to supplement. We have put. Traditionally, we always put seaweed in the mix. I like that very much. I don't know. What do you do?
Well, I buy bagged mix, organic potting mix, and then just because it's cheaper and faster and easier.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. But it doesn't have. I don't think it is soilless. Actually, I think there is a little bit of soil in there, but it's primarily a peat and compost mix, and it has some vermiculite and perlite.
Yeah.
But it has no fertility, even though it has compost in it, and so we